Thank you for joining us. Welcome to LumioseStation.
What's up, LumioseStation, and welcome back to another episode of the Pokémon DataDex with me, TheOneIntegral. In last week's episode, I covered Jirachi alongside the Heated Mow, and I asked you guys which Mega Evolution you wanted me to cover this week, either Mega Tyranitar or Mega Aggron. The votes are in, they're all tallied up, and as you can tell, the one that came out on top is Aggron. So we're going to be covering Aggron and its Mega Evolution this week, looking at how it can be used competitively. Of course, we have to have a vote for next week's Pokemon, and we've got some Dark types coming up. So we have two Pokemon here to choose from. The first one is Weavile, and the second one is Zoroark. So do you want to see me cover the Dark Ice type Weavile, or do you want to see me cover the pure Dark type Zoroark, which has the ability to shapeshift? Let me know which one you want to see covered next week down below in the comment section. The one with the most votes will be covered in the next episode. But for now, let's get off and start having a look at Aggron. Aggron is number 306 in the National Pokédex, and it's a Steel Rock type, being the Iron Armor Pokemon, which would make a lot of sense. Dimension wise, it stands at 6 foot 11 inches or 2.1 meters tall, so it's a pretty tall Pokemon, and it actually weighs 793.7 pounds or 360 kilograms, so it's also very heavy. Certainly not something you'd want to mess with. Then, looking at the egg and breeding and gender, we can see it's in the monster egg group, and the gender split is equal at 50% male, 50% female. Evolution chain wise, the first basic sort of stage is Aggron, and Aggron will evolve into Lairon starting level 32, and then Lairon will evolve further into Aggron starting level 42. So once you manage to get your Aggron, that's the one, Aggron leveled up far enough to get a Lairon, it's actually fairly quickly evolving after that. So you can get an Aggron fairly early on in the game, to be honest. Looking at the basic stats, we can see here, health points are 70, attack is 110, defense is 180, special attack is 60, special defense is 60, and speed is 50. As you can see, its highest stat is defense, so it's a very physically bulky defensive Pokemon. Its second highest is attack, so it can actually do some decent damage itself as well, because that's 110. And going down from there, we get to health points, which aren't amazing, but they're enough, they're sufficient, I guess. And then we get down to special attack and special defense. Special attack, because we have a high physical attack, we don't really need special attack, so we're not bothered about that one at all. But the special defense being only 60 is a bit hard on us, because it means they have two similar names. Aggron can't really take too many specially defensive attacks, or specially attacking attacks. If give it an Earth Power or two, it's not going to last too long. Whereas physically, it's going to take a few there. Speed is its lowest stat there at 50, so as we can tell, Aggron is not exactly going to be the fastest Pokemon, but that's alright because it's nice and defensive, nice and tanky and bulky, so hopefully that'll make up for it when we get on through looking at its typing and moves and everything like that. Ability wise, we have 3 available for it here. The first basic one is Sturdy, which means it can't be knocked out with one hit, which is a good ability, I guess, especially if your Aggron's coming in and the enemy might have Earthquake, because obviously you're going to be able to survive that Earthquake or Earth Power, whichever one. You're definitely going to be able to survive it unless they have Mold Breaker, and then you might be able to hit back with an attack that might finish them off and win you the game. Who knows? So it could be useful in some cases. However, its second basic ability, which is Rockhead, is much better. It protects the Pokemon from recoil damage. Now, you can't really tell the full use of this until we look at the moves, but it's a pretty good ability, I'll tell you that. So generally we want to be running Rockhead if we're using a move it might have any some sort of boost on. Its last ability, the hidden ability, is Heavy Metal, which doubles its weight, which could be useful because Aggron does have a move that the damage it does depends on the weight. However, there are other moves that will do more damage if you are heavier. For example, Grass Knot, which Aggron takes neutral damage from, and Low Kick, which takes 4 times damage from. If Aggron takes a Low Kick, it's generally going to be dead anyway, but if you've doubled your weight, it's going to do even more damage. So Heavy Metal is generally not a good ability because it'd be a gamble. It would boost up your move, but it would also increase the power of moves against you. So generally Rockhead is the one we want to go for here. We'll look more of that when we get onto the moves and the sets. So the typing, Aggron is a steel rock type, which is a pretty good type. It resists a total of 8 types, which are normal, flying, rock, bug, psychic, ice, dragon and fairy, so there's a good few there. And it is weak to 3 types, which are water, fighting and ground, bearing in mind it's 4 times weak to fighting and 4 times weak to ground, so you have to bear that in mind. It's only 2 times weak to water. It's also immune to poison, because it's a part steel type, and it takes neutral from the last 6 types, which are grass, fire, electric, ghost, dark and steel. So out of 18 types, it's going to be taking either no or reduced damage from 10 of them, which is pretty good. It's sort of, similar to the steel psychic typing we looked at last week with Jirachi. So it is a good type, and the only downside to it is your 4 times weakness to fighting and ground, because those are fairly common attacks, fairly common types to see. Earthquake, close combat, what have you, they're fairly common types to see, so you have to watch out for those. There's the only downside there is. Generally it's a good typing in my opinion, at least. If we move on to the moves and see what moves we can get with Aggron, of course. Its first move we're going to look at is Heavy Slam, and this is learned at level 57 via level up. It's a steel type move, and the damage it does is dependent on the weight of you against the weight of the opponent. So if you're really heavy and they're really light, you're going to do a hell of a lot of damage. However, if you're really light and they're really heavy, you're going to do no damage at all. Hence why heavy metal might be good, particularly with this move. However, as I said, it's a gamble, so you could, sure, it might boost the power of Heavy Slam. However, Low Kick is also going to do twice the damage, as well as Glass Knot. Glass Knot, that's a new move. So Heavy Slam is generally a good move anyway, though, because you are pretty heavy in the first place. So you don't need heavy metal to run it. It will do a decent amount of damage without heavy metal anyway. Then at level 65 in X and Y, or the lower level of 45 in Auras, very low there, we have Double Edge. Now this is one of the moves that's gonna, be boosted or have a good effect in combination with Rockhead, because it does recoil. However, with Rockhead, it means you're not going to take any recoil damage. So you can double edge and double edge for days. You're not going to take any recoil damage. It is a normal type move, so it's not the best of types, but it does a lot of damage. I think it's 110 power, 120 power, which is pretty high. So generally, if you've not got a move that's super effective and double edge isn't going to be resisted, then just use double edge. Just go for it. Generally, that's going to be a nice, powerful attack for you. Moving on now to some TMs, we have TMA5 Raw. Because Aggron is fairly bulky, we can use it in some sort of tank or bulk set, and just use Raw to get rid of anyone that's trying to set up on you, which is a very good move, very good idea to have it. Otherwise you're just stuck here being a tank and you can't do anything because they're just going to set up with Sword Stances or Carmines, and then they're just going to sweep free your team. So Raw is a very useful move to have if you're running a tank set. As is the next move, which is TMO6 Toxic, because obviously you want to have at least some effect on what you can do to the enemies. So using Toxic will badly poison them, and they will slowly get their health point reduced, so you can actually do something if you're going full tank for Aggron. Then, next team we have here is TM26 Earthquake. Don't get stabbed on this move, but is all around very powerful, good coverage, and generally it's going to help cover stuff that you don't, that your rock or steel type stabs aren't going to really deal with, like electric types. Obviously steel is going to be resisted there, rock is only going to be neutral, whereas earthquake is super effective. So generally if there's a Pokemon that resists either your steel or your rock type move, then earthquake will be able to deal with it. Then TM69 we have a Rock Polish, which is a status move, and when used it will sharply increase your speed. Now at first glance this might think, why would you use this on Aggron? It's got base 50 speed. Yep, it's got base 50 speed, which is its only downfall basically. It's got good defense and good attack, so use Rock Polish, boost up your speed. You've got high speed, high attack, high defense. You can be faster than some Pokemon, you can do a lot of damage to them, and you can take the moves even if they manage to survive. So being able to set up a Rock Polish against an opponent, because obviously it's going to sharply increase, it's going to double your speed, so it's going to give you a base 100 speed, which is a good speed to have. So if you can force a switch and use Rock Polish, then you might even be able to sort of, outspeed the opponents, which would be pretty good, don't you think? After that we have TM73 Thunder Wave, which is another status move, which is going to paralyze the opponent. So I guess similar to Rock Polish, it's going to paralyze the opponent and it's going to lower their speed, so first off they might not be able to attack each turn, and they're going to have, I think it's half speed Thunder Wave does, or paralysis does in general. So generally that's good. However, it only works on one Pokemon rather than sort of you as against the whole team. However, it does work. If you paralyze the opponent, then you can switch out, and that Pokemon is really slow. So you can switch in any Pokemon that's reasonably fast and do some work on them. So it's more of a if you want to be useful to the rest of your team rather than just sort of focusing on sweeping with Aggron, I guess. Then we go on to some egg moves. The first egg move we have here is Head Smash. Head Smash is a very powerful rock type move which does recoil damage. However, with Rock Head, we're not going to take it. Head Smash is the most powerful rock type move, I think, if my memory serves me correctly. It does a hell of a lot of damage, and really, it's good. It is good. With Rock Head, you won't take any recoil, so you can just spam Head Smash. Just spam Head Smash. You get stab on it as well, which means you're going to do a lot of damage. A lot of damage. So yeah, you definitely want to run Head Smash if you've got Rock Head. Of course, if you've not got Rock Head, don't run it because it's just going to kill you in like 2 or 3 turns. But Head Smash is very good for having Aggron having it as an egg move. Then we have an egg move or a tutor move. We have Stealth Rock, sort of basic here. Going to set up Stealth Rocks on the opponent's side. Good, I suppose. Yeah, it's just basic Stealth Rock stuff. Again, if you're going for a sort of a tanky, bulky build, you can run Stealth Rocks because you're just going to be able to set them up, aren't you? So you can go in Stealth Rock, roar any opponent out that might, you could just roar to get them all being killed on the Stealth Rocks. That would be quite a nice, I say nice, annoying strategy, but it's something you could do. Another tutor move we have here is Aqua Tail. Seems a bit of a weird move for Aggron to have, but I can learn Aqua Tail, physical water type move, and it's good. It's not going to have it's not going to have amazing coverage, but it's going to cover like rock, ground types. I mean, with Earthquake you can hit rock types anyway. Ground types maybe, because obviously you're 4 times weak to them. But generally, Aqua Tails, there's not much to say there. It's a good move. You could have it. It's it will work if you wanted to run an Aqua Tail on your Aggron, basically. So we have a couple of moves left here for Aggron, just 2 left to sort of make use of all the lovely moves it gets rather than just some of them. We have, another tutor move we have here is Fire Punch. Now, Fire Punch, physical again, it's a fire type move. We've had water with Aqua Tail, so it makes sense we have fire now. No grass, unfortunately, but you get the idea. Fire Punch, this is going to cover against steel types because looking at your 2 stabs, rock and steel, neither of them are going to do any damage against steel type Pokemon. Of course, if you're an Earthquake, you can. But obviously there are other moves Fire Punch will affect as well, grass, bug, just sort of extra strengths basically if you wanted to just go and have all the options with what moves you used. The last move we have is as well Low Kick via Tutor. Fighting type move, it does physical damage and the damage does depends on the opponent's weight. So you could run it and it would again cover steel types, it would cover rock types for you. As well as ice types. That's the other one. I was just thinking, it's like is something that really that bad type? But yeah, so it will cover some of those types for you. It's just a coverage move really if you want to use it. I'd recommend Earthquake or Fire Punch over it, but you can certainly use it if you want. Right, that's it for the Viral moves. Let's take a look at Mega Aggron. So Mega Aggron is going to be a pure steel type. It loses the rock type and becomes pure steel, which is an interesting change in my opinion at least. Dimension wise, it gets taller again, going up to 7 foot 3 inches or 2.2 meters, and its weight increases to 870.8 pounds or 395 kilograms, so it gets a small boost in weight there, which of course is going to power up Heavy Slam. The Mega Stone, the Aggronite, can be found in Pokemon Y only. You can get it in Pokemon X, but in Pokemon Y it can be found in the Sillage City Gym. Requires the upgraded Mega Ring, and of course for the time to be between 8 and 9 PM. And in Oras, it can be retained in Rust Tuff Tunnel. Once you clear the path of Rock Smash, Wanda's boyfriend will give it to you because he's a nice guy. So it can be obtained in both Oras games, but just Pokemon Y. Mega Evolution, there you can see how Aggron changes when it Mega Evolves. It gets all this steel plating around it. I guess that makes sense why it changes to still a pure steel type, because it loses all the rock on its body and just gets loads of steel, and it's just a big steel bulk basically. Base stat wise, for Mega Aggron, health points stay the same at 70, attack gets a boost of 30 up to 140, defense gets a boost of 50 up to 230, and special attack stays at 60, special defense gets the boost of 20 up to 80, and speed stays the same at 50. So the three changes here: attack up by 30, defense up by 50, special defense up by 20. So what does this give us? It gives us more damage, which is good. It gives us loads more defense, which again is good because we are a very bulky defensive Pokemon. And last but not least, it gives us more special defense, which allows us to sort of have, I guess, it allows us, whereas 60 special defense wasn't really big enough to actually rely on for doing, taking a lot of special attacks, whereas 80 is good. And especially with this very high physical defense, that anyway, 230 physical defense, it's not like you're going to need to put that much, EVs, nature, etc. into physical defense because it's so high already. No one is going to want to touch a Mega Aggron with physical moves. If someone sees a Mega Aggron in battle, they're not going to think, oh, better grab out my physical fighting type Pokemon to take him out. They're going to think, right, let's get my special fire type attacker out. So no one's really going to touch your physical defense anyway, so you can slack off on sort of putting points into that and put some points into special defense just to boost it up and get it as strong as possible. Ability wise, for Mega Aggron, what's its ability? Its ability is Filter. Filter reduces the damage from super effective moves. So you have the moves you resist, which you take less damage from anyway, the moves you take neutral damage from, and then the moves you take increased damage from. What Filter does is it takes these moves you take increased damage from and lowers the power of them, not quite down to neutral, but sort of in the middle. Instead of doing double damage to you, they're going to do 1.5 times damage to you, so it's pretty darn good, I'd say, in my opinion. Obviously, Mega Aggron having this pure steel type, let's look how this affects its typing. It now resists a total of 11 types: normal, grass, flying, rock, bug, psychic, ice, dragon, steel, and fairy. So it's actually gained a couple, and I think lost a couple, lost one or two as well, just because of how the typing goes. It's now weak to 3 types still, which are fire, fighting, and ground. Of course, all these are only 2 times because it doesn't have 2 types anymore, so it's only 2 times weakness. However, with Filter, these go down to 1.5 times damage, so it's even less. It's immune to poison still because of the steel typing, and now it takes neutral from 4 types rather than the last 6, and these types are water, electric, ghost, and dark. So it's a pretty damn good type, pure steel, especially with Filter. You're going to take 0.5 times damage from these top moves, top types. You're going to take 1.5 from the middle ones, 0 from poison, and then 1 times from the last 4. You're going to take moves like a boss. Combined with Filter, this typing is amazing. If only filtering, reduced it down to neutral, which doesn't, obviously it puts down to 1.5 times damage, but still, you're not going to take quite as much damage as you would from fire, fighting, and ground type moves. And of course, with the typing changing from steel rock to just pure steel, of course you've lost, before fighting ground type moves were doing 4 times damage to you, they were doing 4 times as much damage as they would usually. Now they're only doing 1.5 times as much, which is a hell of a lot more. So if they were going to kill you with the first move, they're not going to kill you with this one. You don't really have to be afraid of anything with Mega Aggron, of course, unless they're setting up and just doing sword dances and whatnot. You guys get the idea. So, we can finally move on to looking at the sets of Mega Aggron now, or normal Aggron as well. I've got 2 basic Aggron sets and 1 Mega Aggron set. However, of course, the normal Aggron sets, some of them could be adapted to use for Mega Aggron as well. So the first Aggron set we have here, moveset, is going to be Head Smash, Earthquake or Low Kick, Heavy Slam, and then Aqua Tail or Fire Punch. Ability is Rock Head, Nature is an Adamant one, held item is going to be a Choice Band, and the EVs are going to be Maximum Attack, Maximum Speed, and the rest in Defense. So first up the moveset, Head Smash is one of your stab moves, just spam it if it's going to do damage basically. Then the choice of Earthquake or Low Kick, I'd recommend Earthquake, but you can also use Low Kick. This is basically against rock types and steel types because otherwise you've not really got anything against them, so just choose one of those there and it'll deal with them. Heavy Slam is your other stab move because you're pretty heavy, so use Heavy Slam when it's effective. If it's super effective, use Heavy Slam. If not, probably just go for Head Smash, unless Head Smash is resisted, in which case go for Heavy Slam. If they're both resisted, go for something else, just sort of a flowchart like that. And the last one here is Aqua Tail or Fire Punch. This is just more coverage, I guess. Aqua Tail can give you coverage against ground types and fire types. Fire Punch can give you coverage against grass types and ice types, just to sort of give a couple more options there, mix it up and see what you can get. Rock Head is the ability because we have Head Smash, so we don't want to take any recoil damage from that, so definitely run Rock Head there. Adamant Nature. The reason for this is because we want to do as much damage as possible. We don't really need to worry about increasing our defense much more because we're just going pure attack here. As you can see with the item, Choice Band, Choice Banded, Adamant, Maximum Attack EV, Head Smash. Boom, they are dead. Just completely dead. Not fainted, just dead. Not saying it will take out every Pokemon, but you guys get the idea. As I mentioned, that EV's maximum attack and speed because we want to do as much damage as possible, as quickly as possible, and then the last few in defense because we're not putting anything in special defense here because it's solo anyway. We just sort of want to rely on getting some damage off, and while they switch out, for example, you know, say you switch in, they're like, oh, better go into my special attacker. Switches out. Here comes a Head Smash, Choice Banded, Adamant, Maximum EV, Maximum Attack EV, Head Smash. Boom. The special attacker might be gone then, and that'd be making your job a lot more easy because then you can just do whatever you want. So, you know, this one works really. Just go in and use whatever move you really want. Head Smash, as I said, Head Smash is your default move. As long as Head Smash is going to do damage, as long as it's not resisted, then use Head Smash. If it is resisted, use Heavy Slam. If Heavy Slam is resisted as well, go down to either Earthquake, Low Kick, Aqua Tail or Fire Punch. If one of those is super effective, use those. If not, use whichever one's going to do the most damage in your opinion. Just a flow chart like that. Head Smash is your main move, then Heavy Slam, and then probably Earthquake, and then, you know, going down the list there. But that's that move. Just go in and use Head Smash and switch moves when needed. Of course, you have Choice Band, so you can't use Head Smash and then switch moves. So you have to use one at a time. But you can just go in and Head Smash spam and then switch out when it's not doing damage, basically. So the second set here, this is more of a Rock Polish set, sort of a speedier set, rather than just focusing on pure damage. We have Rock Polish, Head Smash, Earthquake, and Heavy Slam. Ability is Rock Head. Nature is an Adamant one. Held item is a Life Orb, and the EVs are putting maximum attack and speed, and the rest in defense, same as before. So here, what you want to do is you want to go in, you want to switch in, try and force a switch on the opponent. So think, whoa, Aggron, better go to my special attacker or something like that at least. Use Rock Polish on the first turn, get your 2x speed, hopefully you'll be faster than the opposing Pokemon, and then you can go for Head Smashes. You've got Rock Head again, so you're not going to take any recoil there. You have an Adamant Nature, you have maximum attack EVs, and you have a Life Orb, which is going to increase the damage even more. So really want to go Rock Polish and then just sweep through as much as you can of the team. You have Life Orb, so you're going to die eventually, but the idea is just going Rock Polish and then sweeping through with Head Smash, and then using Heavy Slam or Earthquake whenever it's resisted, basically. Again, I don't really have much more to say apart from that because it's just a case of just going in and rock polishing and then head smashing. Just do it. Just do it. Head smash for days, guys. Head smash for days. Right. Let's go and look at this Mega Aggron set now. It's worth mentioning that Rock Polish set could also be used for Mega Aggron as well. I've used it in the past myself. Switch in, Mega Evolve, Rock Polish, your Mega Aggron with extra attack and defense, and now is even speedier, and then you can go through and use, whatever move you would use on Mega Aggron, which we'll look at now. So the four moves we have here are Stealth Rock, Roar, Toxic or Thunder Wave, Heavy Slam and Earthquake. You notice we have no Head Smash here. Ability is Sturdy, Nature is Impish 1, held out is the Aggronite, and the EVs are putting maximum health points, 240 in special defense and 16 in physical defense. So here we're going for less attack, more bulk defense. You could run an attacking set on Mega Aggron, sure. However, with Rockhead, your sort of limits are a bit constrained, I guess. No Rockhead, you can't spam Head Smash anymore. Kind of sucks. So the moveset here is Stealth Rock. You want to go in, you want to set the Stealth Rocks up on the enemy team, and then you could switch out, or you could come back in later on Stealth Rock again, or you could stay in, and who knows. But Stealth Rocks are useful. Then we have Roar, Toxic or Thunder Wave. This depends what you want to go for. If you want Roar, you can have Roar there for get rid of any people that are trying to set up on you. You can have Toxic there to try and just sort of work and actually get rid of opponents as you go with your tank. Or you can give a Thunder Wave, which is going to paralyze the opponents. You can just try and sort of paralyze them all, or paralyze as many as possible to help out the rest of your Pokemon and take them out. Then we have Heavy Slam. This is your only stab left. You're even heavier now, so Heavy Slam is going to do more damage. So this is what you want to mainly use, with Earthquake being your backup. If Heavy Slam is resisted and you want to attack, use Earthquake instead. You could run Stone Edge possibly instead of Earthquake if you really want a rock type stab. Well, it's not even a rock type stab anymore, is it? But if you really want a rock type move, you can use Stone Edge, but really Heavy Slam and Earthquake are going to be your best choices. Sturdy is the ability rather than Rockhead because we want to sort of Mega as soon as we get into battle. So there's going to be no time to use any recoil moves, so you may as well use Sturdy in case you switch in on an Earthquake that's going to take you down to 1 health point, for example. Something crazy like that, at least to give you the chance to Mega Evolve. But since we haven't got any recall moves, Rock Head is completely useless here, so Sturdy might be useful in some cases. You could even say, right, okay, they're going to use this move, I'm going to stay in and take it on the, take it Sturdy, and then rather than Mega Evolve, you could hold off on Mega Evolving just to take a move or two and then and get it up. I don't know how, what cases it might be useful like that, but who knows. Nature is Impish, which is going to increase our physical defense and lower our special attack, so that's sort of the bonus in defense there. Then we see with EVs, we've got maximum health points to give us some bulk all around, and then 240 in special defense to give us that bulk in special. So we're actually increasing the special defense bulk now because we have 80 base special defense. We're going to increase that up, and that's going to give us not quite equal, but a good special defense and even better physical defense, which is going to allow us to take moves all over the shop. So yeah, really in this case, using the set is just sort of go in, Stealth Rock up sort of in the first place, and then if you've got Roar, you can just roar them out and in, just sort of keep it going, keep taking Stealth Rock damage. If you've got Toxic or Thunder Wave, you can use one of theirs, and then just sort of go for your attacking really. Heavy Slam and Earthquake. With that base 140 physical attack, you're still going to be doing some decent damage, even with no nature or EVs in it. So you can still do some decent damage there. But yeah, that's really sort of how you'd use that set, and that's how you use Aggron in general. So guys, that's going to be it for this episode of the Pokemon DataDex. As I mentioned at the start, be sure to vote for next week's Pokemon down below in the comment section by either typing Weavile or Zoroark, whichever one you want to see. And the one with the most votes will be covered in the next episode of the Pokemon DataDex. But for now, I'll be seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, my friends.